Hey everyone, happy solstice. Happy 10th Ember. Okay, those new to Opal Oracle, welcome. It's really nice to have you here. I'm glad that we found one another. And those returning, thanks so much. Overall, in case you missed the other video, I really just appreciate everyone that's decided to hold hands on this journey. It's been so positive, and ever since I started this in January, it's just been really progressive, and the people that have reached out to me and that I've had a chance to communicate with are really inspiring and stunning. All of you, it's wonderful. I mean, there were like 2 assholes out of the whole year. That's pretty rare, which is good. That means you're starting to look at things differently. So basically, I did a overall Saturn and Capricorn sort of collective spread. This is per sign. Feel free, anyone, to timestamp it. Okay. I guess we'll go one at a time, but before I do, I just want to give a few little things. One, Saturn is called the Wise Elder. Okay, in case those of you who missed the other video and don't know much about it. Whatever happened 30 years ago is what affects now. Okay? If you weren't born then, ask your parents, ask your grandparents, whatever. Ask somebody that's connected to you in that way. Blood. I just keep hearing blood string. It's really interesting. Anyway, whatever happened then that caused some sort of shift, it's like, how much have you done? How much work have you done? Like, in a way, here's the test, Yeah, it's pretty much, what have you learned? And don't be upset when you fail the test because you've had 30 years to study. Okay, that kind of situation. I know technically for a winter solstice you figure this should be nighttime reading, but really, well, A, the crows don't really talk at night, and B, well, they're ravens too here, but although it's quite rare that they mix together, but the point being, it's the shortest day, okay, where I am anyway. And happy summer solstice to those farther to the edge of Earth, closer to the Antarctic. Okay, here we go, I guess. Telling me to get to it. Capricorn I chose first. Obviously, Aries has importance here. Well, that's something else to mention. Capricorn is not necessarily the end of the year. It's the beginning of the last quarter of the end of the year. Okay, Aries is actually the beginning of the zodiac. It's like I hear when a bumper, where you start to get yourself in order. Okay, but it is a slow movement, and because it's staying there as Saturn and Capricorn 2.5 years, be easy on yourself, okay? Rest, particularly during the next few months until spring pops up, okay? Now, Capricorn. Well, you're going to be doing a lot of purifying, okay? I see that you're also going to become less afraid. All these things are happening or will be happening, but then it all depends on whether you take it as from a position of bravery and you look it straight in the, because that's how you conquer the devil, right? You conquer any darker shadow folk. You look it in the face. Okay, you look it straight in the eye. You don't... One second. Jackie, if you're listening, the two of them just landed on the line. And one of them flew away, and I think it's the same one again. This has never happened. See ya. Anyway, I would say that the crow is good for you, Capricorn. Okay? So that you know where you're going, so that you understand how to contain yourself, how to fine-tune and conduct. Like a convection oven, right? It's like two different forces coming together. That's what happens. There's like a top and a bottom, right? Or an in and out, and there's something about that. I think that's how they work, but that's how I'm visualizing it. But that's what needs to happen with you, Capricorn, okay? So that you can take, because although you're an earthly creature, you still have to gain some sort of new, you still have to, how do I want to say it? You're still looking at your world. Capricorn's going to be, Saturn's going to be asking you, both of them, to examine your world so that you can really start viewing it from a different vantage point so that you stop blocking yourself, okay? And that one blockage, like, doubles. I feel like bread, you know, like where you leave it with all the heat, right? And then it just, you come back and it's like overflowing the bowl. Like it's unnecessary, because the next sign that comes is Aquarius, okay? And that's water. And that's also Uranus, okay? Fire and Uranus could be kind of dangerous, but I see that you're also going to be maturing within your fiery realm, okay? You could also be healing from a mother, a mother figure, your mother, and or any female figure in your life growing up that had strong fire in their chart, okay? Now, Aquarius. I also see a maturation. I see you need to start feeling things out more than thinking about them. I see... Well, I guess we can do help and hinder, right? Maybe we'll work it out that way. That's another thing I'm learning from Saturn and Capricorn. Like, technicality, practicality, right? Well, it shows me here that what's helping you is if you have a new venture that you want to start, creatively speaking, you have the ability to be able to temper your passion accordingly so that you can focus it in what you want. Okay? But I see that passion, that creation, whatever it is that you're trying to make, whether it would be just specifically creatively or within the material world, that particularly is emotionally fulfilling and would be good for you and your family. That's the thing with Saturn and Capricorn. It's not necessarily going to come tomorrow, okay? It's a slow and steady situation, and it's about being rewarded kind of throughout the process, but almost when you're about to give up. You know, because that's kind of the devil, like, pushing you to see how much you're going to take before you just give in to quitting. You know what I mean? To being, like, instead of being so focused like this, but like just being immature about your energy. Because also, you know, you have to be cautious of the devil card, okay? Because that could take that's a lot of shadow energy. You have to know how to maneuver that world, okay? And you can't just ignore that world either. But that's good. Yeah, creatively great. A Capricorn will probably be purifying something again about, I see it strongly again, purifying something about a fire sign, okay? The next sign, so that was Aquarius. The next one we're going to do is Pisces. So Pisces, you actually receive the water, which is nice. That's the first element within the same sign and element. 10 of Cups. Well, it's interesting. There's like a barrier between Pisces and Aquarius, okay? So I would say that, well, first message is what's helping you is you probably have, wherever it is, like in your natal chart, like all Piscean people, I guess if you're using, say, I don't know, whatever model it is that you use, because it's all going to land like every Cancerian has it in, you know, it's going to be affecting like one house. I don't remember what Pisces is, but I see that it probably won't affect you that much, or it's maybe in a house that has more to do with, it obviously has a lot to do with your emotions. I also see you coming to the edge of your emotions, like you've reached the shore about something, and the next 2 years, I see like a bubble too. Maybe some of you had a child 30 years ago or something like that. Made some sort of a decision that caused a reflection, that's causing a reflection now. That's interesting. So yeah, the Piscean people, there's something about that. I also see the Piscean people rule the feet, right? And Aries is actually next to Pisces, and Aries has these feet on their situation, and Aries is the head. So there's something about that yin and that yang that's really important for you to be really grounded in your feelings, because this is so much feeling, okay? It's so much emotion. I mean, look at that water. They swam so deep and so far that they actually hit the firmament, like the dome, you know? Just glistening, this like beautiful rainbow. You know, like the rainbow bridge to whatever. Not to be new agey, but I would say, you know, the spectrum is important. It's all there, right? So you have to be aware what you're doing with your emotions, okay, Pisces? Because I see, again, there's a strong message for Piscean people to pay attention to their opposite sign, okay? Because in one way, whatever their weakness is where you're going to find your strength, and then that'll also be able to help you help other people, and to help that other part of the other side of yourself, okay? I do see it's very important for you to pay good attention to your feet also. Now, Aries. Well, I see that this, what's helping you is that it's going, there's a change that's coming that's pushing you to see something that you didn't necessarily want to see. But it really does all depend on which way you look at it, Aries, okay? Because in a way, 30 years ago, I see that you were abandoned by something or someone, or there was a situation that had to do with abandonment, okay? Had to do with karma, had to do with separation, okay? And being without, really. It's not to say you didn't have the basic things in life, but there's something about it where you just didn't, there was something that you weren't granted, or that was taken away from you, rather, that just was sort of natural to everyone else, or what you thought, okay? So there's something about the healing of that, and really changing the perspective of you, your perspective of stability, okay? And how stable you feel, not only within the physical world, but how that interplays into your, oh, I heard society, but also like your psyche. Okay? And again, I see for you also, your opposite sign, Libra, is important. Okay? And it was something karmic that happened 30 years ago. Okay? And I hear my favorite Journey song ever, and the wheel in the sky keeps on turning. You know, maybe that's something that happened. It's like you didn't know where you were going to be tomorrow. Maybe some sort of stability was, you know, like a stability was swept up from underneath you, is what I heard. But it's like, how well have you dealt with that abandonment is going to be the help or hinder, okay? This is kind of a heavy card. Alright, we'll move along, and then I'll get more information about that. The next sign is Taurus. Well, you actually received your own element now, too. So Pisces and the Taurian people get their own element. Well, the Jester of Gardens is basically the page. It's the student. This person is actually quite... this is a very particularly artistic student. I see that they've been through many transformations. I see sometimes they were I heard unsure of who they were supposed to be, like what sort of face they're supposed to put on for the world, particularly due to all the transformations that they've had to go through. Because through those transformations, through those changes, significant changes also, and I see many lifetimes too, for those of you who understand that, what happened is now you have an ability to be able to peer into the world with such a distinct eye, okay? But in that distinction, I heard and ability, we must remember that is our magnifying glass, okay? And we are looking through that, so we have to also understand subjective versus objective. I heard, to society, our shoes represent who we are. Our shoes and our hat kind of show who we are. And I see that your shoes don't match your hat at this point. Okay? Like, they go together in a way. They go together, but there's something about it where it's just, right now there's too much going on, okay? So because you know what? I think you've already had, in one way, I feel like you've already had your Saturn, what do they call it, the Saturn return? Let me see how long this is. Hold on. 18, shucks. I might have to split this up in two, because I want to get in depth with it. Yeah, I am going to split this up. We'll do part one, part two, okay? So this will be, we're talking about Taurus. So, oh baby, what's the matter? When I said we're talking about Taurus, my dog was like, right, Zumi? Good girl. She's just staring at me. I wish I could speak dog sometimes. Okay. You know, the page is also a child too, okay? So your children could be really important to you. Some of you have also an earth child. Of course, this is always you as a child and your inner child, okay? I see that your feelings are going to be what's mirroring you through this time. I see this mirror world again. It's so interesting. You are considering what it is that you have in your hand. I'm so interested. Like his Jester of Gardens, it has like a clown mask on, but it has like the red and it's sort of the eyebrows that are concerned. I mean, I guess that can be, how do we help that? Okay. This actually came out in your other reading. Well, if you ran away from what helps you is if what will help you during this time is if you have matured, if you have healed your abandonment also, like your separations from things and or your view of separation, because what's going to happen is in March, something's going to bubble back towards you, okay? It's like it bounces, like it boomerangs, like it hits the edge and it boomerangs back off to you. Now, if you've settled it and purified yourself, okay, and learned how to handle whatever that energy is, then it so shall be, okay? But if you didn't, there's a possibility that you could really be struggling with unproductive thinking over the next few years, okay? I mean, you'll be sorting it out, but I see that you could end up being extremely moody and feeling like left out and just feeling really bad. I mean, it all depends on how you look at it, and it all depends on how you express it. But I see here that with you, something about this 8 and this 9 have come out for you a lot. 8, 9, 10. Okay? And 8, 9, 10 is actually in, although this is Earth, but your Earth, 8, 9, 10 is that way. Okay? Something about that. Like maybe these are times in your life, 8, 9, 10. When you were 2, when you were 7, when you were, well, everybody, when they're 14. But there's also something, okay, and we'll get to Cancer, Gemini quickly, but I want to mention before we get it, because this is all water too, so Gemini received the Queen of Cups in reverse. One of the cards that has to do with Capricorn and Saturn is the 8 of Cups. It's actually the only water card that's relatable, from what I can gather, within the tarot deck. Okay, it's about emotionally maturing. It's about stepping away from things that we've emotionally invested ourselves in for a long time, right? Because we're at the 8, we only need the 2, the soulmate, which makes the family, you know. And if we take away the soulmate, you know, we feel like in that sort of family dynamic, then we're left here to our own devices, okay? So there's something about that we need to, that's important for everyone during this transit. But with the Queen of Cups in, let me see this. I mean, Gemini, you're really going to be, it's going to be testing you to see how mature you are in the way that you deal with your own feelings, point blank. I mean, and particularly the way that you extend emotions to other people and ways of love, okay, in ways of that kind of feeling. Because sometimes you're an air sign, you're so outward, you know, like you'll tell everybody everything about everything without them even asking. No offense, it's just like what you do. I mean, people get it that know you, but it's kind of like Saturn is the in-breath, okay? If we're always talking outwardly, that's all exhale, that's all Jupiter, that's all expansion, okay? Talking about the in. And going in is how we all receive what it is that we're wishing for, okay? Now, lastly, I'd like to mention that Capricorn and Cancer, Aquarius and Leo, Pisces and Virgo. Oh no, I fucked that up. I'm sorry. Capricorn and Cancer, Aquarius and Leo. No, I did do it right. I'm sorry. Pisces and Virgo, Aries and Libra, Taurus and Scorpio, Gemini and Sagittarius, which actually those are the opposites, right? I guess it just keeps going back into that. That message is strong for everybody. Okay, I'm going to do part 2. This is part 1. See you soon.